Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep as always, but this one's a little different.
Yeah, well out there.
We're going to be looking at fiction.
That's right, a fictional conversation.
But as always, to understand reality a bit better,
Exactly. Using fiction as a lens.
a lens to look at the real world.
It's a fun one, too.
It is. Okay, so imagine this. George Carlin,
Oh, yeah, I love Carlin.
Joseph Goebbels,
Now, that's an interesting one.
and God
Wow, okay, so quite the trio.
all hanging out in heaven's waiting room.
Heaven's waiting room, I like it.
Just shooting the breeze, talking about Trump's second term as president.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Where'd you find this?
So it's a satirical piece we dug up. Pretty wild, actually.
Sounds like it. So what can we learn from this heavenly hangout?
Well, it's all about propaganda,
Naturally, with Goebbels in the mix.
belief systems,
Yeah, that makes sense with God there, too.
and the crazy power of information these days.
All right, I'm ready. Let's jump in.
Okay, so picture this. Carlin's waiting, looking impatient,
Classic Carlin.
and in walks Goebbels,
No way.
apologizing for being late because he had to grab a cappuccino.
Wait, Goebbels? Getting a cappuccino.
No, right? That's hilarious. What a way to start.
It really sets the tone right away.
It throws you off balance for sure. Like, here's Goebbels, right?
Yeah.
The Nazi propaganda guy.
Yeah, the OG.
Worried about his coffee order.
I know. But it works. The humor makes you, I don't know, more open to what they're actually talking about.
I could see that. It's disarming.
Exactly. You're laughing and then bam.
They hit you with the serious stuff.
Exactly. And then it gets even better. Goebbels starts criticizing Trump's propaganda.
Seriously.
He calls it crude.
Crude, huh? I mean, that's Goebbels. He's like the master of propaganda.
Right. That's what makes it so fascinating. Like, what does crude even mean in the 21st century? Is it less effective?
Good question. I mean, Goebbels had radio and film. Powerful tools, but limited reach compared to today.
Exactly. These days, information travels at warp speed. It's everywhere. Think about it. Tweets, rallies, broadcast live. The news cycle never stops.
It's overwhelming.
It is, and that's the point. The reach is insane. Information and disinformation, too, spread so fast.
So even if Trump's methods seem less sophisticated than Goebbels' radio broadcasts,
They could be even more pervasive because of how much we consume now.
constantly bombarded.
And there's another piece here. This piece really emphasizes this. Emotion.
That's a big one.
Huge. Carlin compares Trump to a magician in this piece.
Interesting.
Even after the magician shows you how the tricks are done,
Like reveals the secrets?
the audience still applauds.
Oh, I see. They want to believe, even when they know it's a trick.
It's like they see what they want to see.
Powerful. It makes me think about confirmation bias.
Exactly. We seek out information that confirms what we already believe.
And ignore anything that challenges our views.
Our current media landscape makes that so easy, too.
Oh, for sure. Social media algorithms just feed us more of what we like.
We end up in echo chambers. Our beliefs, whether they're true or not,
Get reinforced constantly.
scary to think about.
And then there's this whole issue of division, which they talk about directly in this piece. Carlin straight up says that Trump's trying to tear the fabric of society apart.
Wow. Using division as a strategy.
Seems that way.
I mean, it's an age-old tactic, creating that us versus them mentality.
Right, divide and conquer.
Consolidates power.
It's working, too. Look at how polarized everything is.
Social media is a breeding ground for that,
Definitely. So much anger and outrage.
which makes reasoned discussion almost impossible.
It's a vicious cycle. Outrage leads to more outrage.
It's tough to break free.
Yeah. But there's a glimmer of hope in this piece. Carlin actually jokes about how the Trump era has been a gold mine for comedians
Haha. I can see that.
because of satire.
Satire. The weapon of the powerless.
Exactly. It exposes hypocrisy,
Challenges authority.
makes you think critically.
It's like holding up a funhouse mirror.
To reality.
Yeah, you laugh, but then you're like, wait a minute, what am I really looking at here?
Exactly. It cuts through the noise.
Forces us to face uncomfortable truths.
Truth we'd rather avoid.
Well said.
So we've covered a lot. Propaganda, technology, belief, division. It's heavy stuff. And at the end of this conversation, Carlin just lays it all out there. He asks God, point blank, what are you going to do about him? What's your divine intervention plan?
And what does God say?
Classic God move. I work in mysterious ways,
Of course, leaves us hanging.
wondering what happens next.
What do we do?
Right. It throws the question back on us.
No magic solution, just us and this crazy information landscape.
So where do we go from here?
That's the question, isn't it? That's what we'll unpack next time. No easy answers, that's for sure.
Makes you think, though, right?
It does. This whole fictional setup, it really shines a light on the mess we're in.
Information overload.
Exactly. Trying to figure out what's real, what's not, it's exhausting.
So where do we even start if we're taking this conversation, this fictional one, as a starting point?
Well, first thing is, this isn't new, This whole propaganda thing, trying to manipulate people.
Going on forever.
Right, but the speed, the scale now, it's different.
Totally. Anyone can create content, share it instantly, doesn't matter if it's true or not.
Exactly, double-edged sword, right. We have access to all this information.
More than ever before.
But how do you filter it? How do you know what to trust?
That's the million-dollar question.
And that's where critical thinking comes in.
This piece really hits on that, doesn't it?
Subtly, but it's there. Be more discerning. Don't just believe everything you see.
We need to be like information detectives or something.
Ah, I like that. Looking for clues.
Who created this? What's their agenda? Are they being upfront about their biases?
Exactly. Ask those questions.
Feels overwhelming, though, Question everything you see online.
Maybe not everything, but a healthy dose of skepticism, it's crucial.
Especially with all the emotional stuff, right?
Oh, absolutely. Remember that magician analogy? Emotions can cloud our judgment.
Big time. There's that saying, if it makes you angry, it's probably designed to.
Truth. So when you see something online and you feel that anger, that outrage,
Take a step back.
breathe. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Is this designed to make me react this way?
Good advice, but honestly, easier said than done.
Right? Especially with social media algorithms. They're designed to keep us hooked, keep us clicking.
Feeding us more of what we already agree with.
Trapped in those echo chambers, everyone's nodding along.
Even if what they're nodding to is completely wrong.
Scary. So we need to break out of those bubbles.
You're saying we should actively look for stuff that challenges our beliefs.
Sounds uncomfortable.
It does.
But it's crucial. If you're only consuming information that confirms what you already think.
You're not really thinking.
Yep. Just reinforcing your own biases.
Okay, I see your point. But how do you do that? Look for opposing viewpoints without it turning into a fight.
It starts with being open-minded, right? Respectful, even when you disagree.
Hard these days.
It is. But try to understand where the other person's coming from. Have a civil conversation. You don't have to agree, but you might learn something.
So having those tough conversations.
But also recognizing that not every disagreement has to be a battle.
Sometimes just listening can open your mind a bit.
Exactly. You might even find some common ground. Who knows?
Sounds like a lot of work, though. Is it really worth all the effort?
This fictional piece, it really seems to think so. It's not an accident that they set this in heaven's waiting room.
Right. Like, this stuff has eternal consequences.
Maybe, but at the very least, it's not just about today's headlines.
It's about the big picture.
The foundations of truth.
How we understand the world around us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot bigger than just winning an argument or, proving someone wrong online.
It is. This piece really drives that home.
Truth matters, right? And we're all responsible for protecting it.
Absolutely. Which brings us back to that question, what can we do? No divine intervention, no easy answers.
So how do we deal with this information overload?
Well, first off, we got to admit that we all have biases.
We're not robots.
Exactly. We all have our own experiences, beliefs, baggage.
And those things color how we see the world.
They do. So being aware of that is the first step.
Okay, makes sense. But even if we're aware of our biases, there's still the problem of just too much information. How do you sift through it all?
Yeah, that's the tough part. One thing is, watch out for those headlines.
The clickbaity ones.
Yeah, designed to get you to click, not necessarily to tell you the truth.
You won't believe what happened next.
Exactly. And don't just get your news from social media.
Oh, good point.
Look for reputable sources, ones that have a history of accuracy, fact-checking.
So do your homework.
Exactly. And always cross-reference. Get your info from multiple places.
Don't just take one source as, the ultimate truth.
Right. Be proactive. You can't just passively scroll and expect to be informed.
You got to put in the work.
You do. But it matters. The information we consume, it affects our decisions, both personally and as a society.
Like that old saying, garbage in, garbage out.
That's it. If we're constantly feeding ourselves bad information,
we're not going to be able to think straight.
Nope. Can't make good decisions.
And those decisions, they have consequences.
Big time. It affects everything. Our relationships, our politics, how we see the world.
It all comes back to that, doesn't it?
It does. So, Yeah, this fictional conversation, as crazy as it is,
It's a good reminder of our own responsibility.
we're all in this together.
Truth matters.
Yeah.
Critical thinking matters.
We all have a part to play in fighting misinformation.
It's a challenge for sure.
It is, but I think we can do it.
Be more aware, be more discerning, be more engaged.
Well said. I think that's a great place to wrap up our deep dive.
Yeah, this one was a trip.
It was. Satire, propaganda, belief. We covered it all.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Keep those questions coming, keep learning, and keep searching for the truth.
Until next time.